Nigeria has become a hotbed for political killing. In November 2022, the home of Labour Party women leader was invaded by unknown gunmen and she was shot dead. Her name was Mrs. Victoria Chintex. Before and after that, there's been tons and tons of killing by bandits, kidnappers, and the Fulani headsmen in the north and so many other parts in Nigeria. And coupled with election tensions that comes with, elections. Now, is this not too much for a country that is not even at war? How much can a country take before it finally falls apart?
Ara, it's Seun Kuti, and I just want to inform all of you and to say,
vote, not fight. Election no be war.
Come out and vote. It's your right, it's your responsibility.
Because that's the single most important thing you can do to affect the outcomes.
Don't stay at home. Make sure you come out and make sure you vote.
This time, we need to do it and do it right.
It is your civic responsibility to choose your leaders.
Vote. 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 Not fight.
Because election no be war.
Political killing is the international murder of politicians or persons considered to be prominent public personalities in a country. Aside political office holders, others who are targeted are judicial officers, lawyers, journalists. Political killing is for political gains. The victims are usually members of opposition parties. In 1966, members of the Nigerian military organized the first coup d'etat in their bid to change the political situation of the country. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the prime minister, and Akintola were killed in Ibadan, the western region capital, and Okotiebo, also killed in Lagos. These killings will continue down to the late 90s of General Abacha's military rule from pressure group leaders who demanded for the June 12, 1993 elections to be upheld. This did not end when the nation's democracy was restored in 1999. Opposition parties simply took stronger contenders or those they sensed would slow their goals of obtaining power out. One of such killings that shook the nation was the murder of Bola Ige, a politician who was respected by all. At the time of his assassination, Bola Ige was the Minister of Justice and the Attorney of the Federation. Political killing destabilizes the political process in a country and may also lead voter apathy.
Hi, welcome back to the show Public Announcements, and my name is Gift David. For those of you who just joined in, today on the show, we will be talking about political killings. And of course, as you know, I always have a guest in the studio with me to always talk about this topic and share their views on every topic on the show. And today is no different because in the studio right now, I have with me a popular Nigerian musician. His name is Seun Kuti.
Hello, Gibbs. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on your show.
And you are welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Going anywhere in Lagos today is not easy, man.
It's not easy, right? So I always ask my
calculating the
guests.
fuel I was going to cost me to get there. Take like 6 liters, 7 liters.
But enough, you will not even think about this. We just get into the road and then move. So I always ask this question, right? How are you coping in this current situation in Nigeria?
First of all, you introduced me, you said I was an activist, So one of the ways to cope is, first of all, to correct that notion. I'm not an activist. Me, I believe that I'm a revolutionary. And a way for Nigerians to cope is to revolutionize their consciousness.
Okay.
It's one of the ways, in fact, it's the only way for one to exist within our oppressive society and still keep some level of sanity. Especially in a situation where they've normalized abnormality and insane behavior is seen as the normal thing to do. So you have to revolutionize your consciousness or else you just get dragged down. A lot of people depressed and all of that.
Okay, so before we go into today's topic, right, what do you have to say about the current situation in Nigeria? Fuel scarcity. You have to calculate the number of gallons you're going to exhaust today
I'm good at calculating.
Queue for getting new notes. Right, and so many other things that we're dealing with, and the hardship, the inflation in food, and so many other stuff like that.
I have 3 new notes in my pocket as we speak.
And those 3 notes must be very precious.
You think I'm lying.
They must be very precious.
Yes, so I have 3K cash money, not in bank. Cash money.
You're a rich man.
Cash money. Look, cash money. Don't play with me.
You're one of the elites in Nigeria because not everybody have access to these 3.
I got this money by ultimatum. Somebody was owing me way more than this. I said, you just give me this and you can forget the rest of the money that you're owing me.
Wow, what is that?
I was able to secure some business. Nigerians, I think we forget everything to the extent that we forget our hardships. If we remember in 2015, when the regime change was about to happen to the Jonathan administration.
Right.
You know, this is how the people that run the society, after they have picked their sides, you know, everybody shuts the country down to create the atmosphere where, you know, their preferred candidates can maybe do better. You know, if you remember in 2015, everything was, in fact, MTN was announcing to us that they have diesel for only 3 days. That if nothing was done, MTN was going to stop working in 3 days. You know, that was how bad it got in 2015. You know,
Right.
so as I said, you know, revolutionize your consciousness. You know, and remembering where we were and our whole journey as, you know, as a, let's not look at it in parts. Let's look at it as a whole thing, you know, and keep in tune, and so that we don't get dragged down into the same thing over and over again. You know, so for me, I'm used to these tactics, so I guess I'm prepared to a certain extent.
Do you think this is a political move?
Everything in Nigeria is a political move. I mean, even if there was no election, you know, we also have to understand as human beings that everything in life is political.
Right.
Even when people say, I'm not political, that is a political statement. You know, so everything in life is political. Definitely what we are going through, it is deliberately done for political interest. Now, that being said, even if that wasn't the case, if the system breaks down like this, it is still due to political mistakes, political decisions that were made for policy that have turned out to be mistakes. So it's politics.
Okay, so today's topic, we're going to be talking about political killings, right? So what is your take on political killings in Nigeria?
My answer to that is, what's new?
What's new?
Yeah, what's new? What's new? First of all, as African people, we should calculate our life in so many different ways.
Okay.
Time is life. You know, if your time is your money, as they say, and you know, and a life is also calculated through time. So you live maybe, let's say, 70 years. So 70 years is a lifetime.
Okay.
You know, in a day, how many hours does each Lagosian waste in traffic just to go to work and come back home? Let's say 6 hours, 5-6 hours a day times 10 million Nigerians. That would be maybe every day just to go to work. 30 years is lost. In 2 days, 1 life. 3 days, 2 lives. Just to go to work.
Like that.
A lifetime is lost just sitting in traffic, you know, every day. You know, so it's not until blood goes splash, you know, that somebody has, you know, that we've lost lives, you know.
Lives.
So is it the killing of journalists? Let's go back. Delegiwa. You were talking about the labor leader's house that was...
Yeah, the women leader in
I mean,
Kaduna.
my father's house was also burned down. This was 1977, invaded by forces of the federal government, not unknown soldiers. Now you have, my dad has predicted it, that there will be unknown civilians in future. Yeah, now, this is the unknown civilian time. And it's only called unknown civilians because the elites of Nigeria, both business and political, who are our collective oppressors. Amazed that Nigerians look up to these people, businessmen or politicians in any way, shape or form.
Right.
You know, because it is only due to the fact that the world is visible today. There's democracy, as they say. That there are tactics that they've been using to land grab and steal resources from common Nigerians. You know, can no longer be done openly. So today we have Boko Haram and bandits and all of that. Before, it just used to be the Nigerian army. Who go into these neighborhoods and kill everybody. Chase them off their lands, but they can't do that now. So they have to create all this upheaval. You know, I mean, in 1 week, they say that these people in this place are so poor. That's why they are fighting. Where did you get money for your guns then? I mean, if you see they are the ones that donating money to fight, why don't you just donate money to farm and start businesses?
yourselves.
You know, so definitely those guns are not coming from the people because the people are also victims, you know, of this violence. Is it in Benue State? The violence in Benue State, I've been hearing it all my life. The political killing of African people, because this modern Africa that we exist in today was delivered by the blood of African people. You know, we had no say in its creation. Everybody that resisted its creation were murdered. For me to sit down here today and discuss, thousands, tens of thousands of people had to die for that to happen. African people are the only people in this world that didn't have the right to vote. Until 1960, no African man in this world had voted before. And millions of Africans all over the world were politically killed for us to have the right to do this, you know. So we still exist under that system that sees African lives as expendable. Whether you are in Europe or you are in Africa or you are in Asia, or anywhere you are as an African man, the system sees your life. I mean, I say to people all the time, you say police are killing black people in America. It's because the police are white. Okay, come to Africa. Is there white police in Africa?
White police
But
in
the
Africa.
institution of policing and the way it was created globally by the same people actually has been made that way. So wherever police is, whoever is wearing the uniform, black, white, purple, yellow, red, once he sees African man, he's training with trigger. You know, that's how it is. You know, same with the banking institutions. You know, you go to Europe and America, they say, oh, banks are white, that's why they don't give us loans. Come to Africa. Go into a black-owned, so-called black-owned bank and go and get a loan as an African man. Let me see.
It's the same story.
It's the same story. So it's how it was set up, you know, globally. So political killings, you know, we as African people, we just detach ourselves a lot from our history. You know, a lot of people don't like to say history is in the past. You know, forget your past. That's the one that, forget the past is the one that is so funny. So I say to people, how much of the past should we forget? Is it called, yeah, forget the past. I go, okay, so I'll forget how to read because I learned that in the past. You know, forget how to walk, you know, because that's also something you learned in the past. You know, forget how to talk. You know, any of your skills that you didn't learn now going forward, just forget it.
So forgetting the past is selective.
No, it doesn't even make sense because your past is what makes you. Those skills that you learned as a kid in your past.
Right.
And those things that you learned how to do as a toddler and a teenager is what is controlling your life today. So is our collective past. Those things that have happened to us in our collective past as African people is what is affecting and controlling our existence today. So we must know it so we don't do it again, or at least be able to resist it. You know. So that's my take on political killings.
You mentioned all of those things, but the thing is, sometimes we pretend like we do not know what is causing these political killings, right? Now, with so much history and experience that you have, and some of the experiences that you've shared, what do you think is the cause of political killing in Nigeria, especially, or in Africa?
Anywhere in the world, political killings is done for political interests. People who stand against the system, or even people who are part of the system, and who are rivals can also. Babangida's coup against Buhari in '84 is a good example of that. Even though there was no killing involved, I mean, but at least he killed his presidency, you know, his administration or head of statery. What would I call that? Because it wasn't a president.
Right.
It was a head of state. Political killing is for political expediency. And we as African people, really, I think why we're afraid of these things is that because we know we have no protection. So when we hear these kind of things happening around, it hits us different. Because we know, we're not protected from it, you know. So, boy, I'm happy today that Africans and Nigerians especially, because we can be the most apathetic of Nigerians, of Africans when it comes to politics, that even Nigerians today are understanding that there's a correlation between their existence and the system that they are existing under, even if they don't understand it yet. I mean, completely yet. You know, so I mean, political killings is a feature of the system that we live under. Right. It's a feature of capitalist, imperialist system that controls this world.
But why do we always have to resort to that? And we do.
We who?
No, not we. Okay, no. So why?
Who?
No, why does the system have to always resort to political killings for political interests?
That's very simple, because the system is built to favor the few over the many. The system we live under, this capitalist, imperialist system that we exist under, is very unfair.
Okay.
And for it to impose itself on people, it doesn't have any legitimacy, you know. Okay. So, for example, 80% of humanity today live in hunger, you know. So that alone discredits the system that runs this world. Because how can you say the system is a success if 80% of the people that is supposed to be working for are hungry? Take our country as a microcosm of the world and look at how many people are homeless, how many people are living on less than $1 a day. Apparently in Nigeria it's 65%. Then another 25% are living on less than 2%. You know, joining together to be about 90% of us living in poverty. A ridiculous number, you know. So who is the system serving? So it needs violence. The system needs violence to perpetuate itself. That's why they must have guns all over the streets and all this military all over the place. At the back of it all, Nobody is waking up in the system as every day in this system and submitting because we believe in it. We are waking up and submitting because we don't want to get shot.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to protect themselves.
Exactly. Whether I like it or not. At the end of the day, it's the gun that gives this system its legitimacy. So that gun continues to, gun meaning force, continues to do what it does in different, we as Africans, our level of political killing is actually tiny. And we are babies in this game. That's why we don't know how to even do it well. We need to go and learn from the CIA. We need to go and learn from the CIA. We need to go and learn from the MI6. The French secret, how to go into genocide and targeted killings.
We will not pray for
because
stuff
those are the experts.
You get to that
people that have done 2 world wars. When you want to learn political warfare, political violence, you go to people that have done 2 world wars. Not you and your little Boko Haram thinking you are something.
It doesn't need to get to that point. But the thing is, we're feeling the pain one way or the other. We're losing lives, irrespective of the amount or the number of people that are being killed or dying.
No, I don't think Nigerians are feeling it really.
We are feeling it. Families are crying out every day.
Do you know that over 2 million French people are on strike as we speak? Over 1 million, I think, right now on strike in Britain. Over 500,000 in America. They don't have what is going on here there. Just a little increment in price of food and price of gas. Everything don't bust. I'm telling you, but I don't know if people are following the news.
Yeah,
right
I actually know the protests.
The whole place is shutting down. So the Nigerian professional, though, is still working. In my heart, probably I want Nigerians to get their wish because it's also political education.
Right.
Maybe they need also this political education, but maybe we don't have time to finish the class.
Okay, well, I get that one. Okay. At this point, right, with the exposure, the education, with the technology that we have, then we
don't have any technology. We borrow every technology.
Okay, well, but now that we have this exposure, this borrowed technology, we're still dealing with political killings. We're dealing with bandits, kidnappers, Fulani headmen to make it even worse, right? Now, do you think this would ever end, no matter the level that Nigeria or Africa... Now, let's talk about Nigeria. No matter the level that Nigeria gets to.
As I've said, a capitalist society in itself is a crimogenic society. You cannot separate capitalism from violence.
Okay.
It's impossible. It's just how it is. From reckless violence, humanity, we are violent creatures. It is in our makeup. We evolved from apes. We got that. The only thing that we now have intelligence, so we can be violent. Violence is targeted aggression. Every animal is aggressive.
Yes.
But human beings and chimps are the only ones that can target that. Okay, is that guy that we're going to deal with? Just that guy. We'll go plan for him. Not so we'll just rush. We'll go plan. You understand? Yes. We'll go plan. Can't treat them. We are the only ones capable, and chimps. Chimps to do that. They target one member, whether they do anyhow for their group. See that guy. Like 6 guys, we don't go plan. We'll deal with him. What is going on in Ukraine and Russia right now?
Okay.
Nigeria has not seen that level of violence.
Not yet.
We don't even have that capability. You understand? So it is this borrowed mentality. When you say our eyes are opened, I don't think our eyes are open as African people. What we use is borrowed sight because we still don't see things from our perspective. We don't look at things from our own point of view. We want to do things for Europeans to think that we are civilized. We are trying to prove a point. That's why we dress the way we do.
Okay.
Make money, everybody dress, wear the best European thing, so that, one day a white man will see you, this one is not a bush African. This is one of the ones we have civilized. This is not a savage. I think our lifestyle, yes, it's true, but it's the way our elites have programmed us. It's our education. Your university, your professors, teachers, everybody's telling you, your talent is for you to be rich and get a job. You get rich, you get a job. What are you supposed to do with the money? There's no national program to tap into. There's nothing inspiring you. So the only thing elites of Africa want you to do to serve their Western masters is to consume. So the richest African men are just the African men that can buy the most expensive things. Finish. They don't create, they don't invent, they don't propagate, they don't help us acquire new markets. That's the job of the European elite. They open new markets for their people. You don't agree with they open the market. They will open. If you don't agree with they open, they will open. Right. So don't let these people lie. to us. You know, we can't accept it. You know, we know what they do, what they've been doing.
Right.
They don't come and sell it to us as some kind of new phenomenon that they are coming. No. Only we, the people of this country, with love in our hearts for ourselves, away from these oppressors, can stop this thing. When we take our power from them, you see all these things will stop.
Interesting take on this topic, political killings. Now let's go to the streets and find out what people are saying about today's topic. I'll be right back. My name is still Gift David.
I wish most of this elsewhere itself is not a plan by our political people just to go for a post, just to make sure, yes, they win this election by all means.
I don't know why they should be killing people during the election. There's really no point why people should die.
Selfishness on the part of I want to be the one in charge, and you have to go all out to make sure that I be the one to come in and not the people's choice coming in. So if it is the people's choice that's coming in, there's no need to rig it if you actually want the people to vote in the person they want to be in. But if you don't have confidence in yourself, that is why you actually want to go out and rig the election and not let the people have a voice.
In terms of going out for vote election, it's not in my mind.
Because of what is happening in Nigeria, because every time they will vote for somebody, and at the end of the day, it's like it's not the person you vote for that you see in position. So this is what is discouraging people.
This country is full of politics. I can't really say, because they are trying all the means that they are posting it all time that elections 2025, we will use our PVC. But you know, we the youth are the issue, sir. We are the problem. Because if all of us want to vote for the right person, we know the right person. But the small change that we see from our politics costs everything.
They know what to do now. They know their duty as president, you know, to make the country move forward and be better. So I don't have any this thing. They should just do it right, the way it should be done.
There's rumor everywhere. Yeah, they want to instill fear in us that we should not vote, but I'm not moved by that. I've grown past that level, so I'm going to vote. So, and I have my voter's card. I'm going to vote. That's just my decision. It's not going to affect me.
Of course, welcome back to Public Announcements. My name is Gift JV, and for those of you who just joined in, today on the show we're talking about political killing, and I have with me in the studio Seun Kuti, popularly known as Big Bird. Yes, so I missed that part in the first intro. Big Bird, and he's of course giving his views and also dissecting today's topic in so many ways that I'm sure a lot of the viewers at home are enjoying right now. In what ways do you think this political killing has affected Nigeria as a nation?
It's the violence, you know. Let me put it this way.
Okay.
If there were a group of people in this country that were going around killing the people that are destroying this country. No, I'm coming. I'm just hypothetically speaking.
Yes.
If there was a group that was going around killing the people that are destroying this country,
okay,
I'm sure you wouldn't be worried in any way, shape, or form. You will sleep, you will wake up, you will be enjoying. But that is also political violence. The issue we have is the victim. You know, that we are the victim.
With the victims,
so
yes.
it's the victimhood, for me, that is the issue. We must find a way to make sure that we as Nigerian people stop being the victims of our oppressors. And the only way to stop being the victim of our oppressor is to become his enemy. The moment you decide in your heart that the oppressors of this country are your enemies, meaning you have absolutely nothing to do with them. If you dey party, they enter, you go stand up, you go come out. If you go they find work, no matter how you be hungry, and then get that work, you go on that place. The moment you are moving like that, you stop being their victim, because it means you are revolutionizing your consciousness. I want a government that will say, fine, we will also use the resources of this nation to back you to make these things on behalf of the people of this country. That is the relationship that this country needs with its resources, its elites, and its people. Not the one that the elite will take the resources, put it in their pocket, don't do anything for the people. You need to go and buy everything in Igbo land to come and show us how they are better than us. Oga, how can you be better than me by selling my resources? I don't understand that. You know, I can understand why Bill Gates is rich. He added Microsoft to America. No, it's true. What have you added to our country? What have you added here that if you are not here, we will not have? Please tell me. I don't understand. Because if Bill Gates is not there, they won't have Microsoft. So what will we not have if you are not here? So this is what our elites have to start thinking of. Those things that we will not have if they weren't here.
If they weren't here. Okay. Thank you so much for coming today on the show. I mean, you have given us different points and angles on today's topic. Now, if you want to share your views on today's topic, political killings, follow us on Instagram at @officialhiptv and drop your comments and share your views on this matter. I would like to hear from you guys. Thank you so much, Seun Kuti, for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
It was an absolute pleasure, talking to you. Now, do you have any final words for the viewers at home on this matter and how to go about their safety in Nigeria?
If anybody wants to learn about political violence and killings, globally in Nigeria, there are a few books globally that have been released, political books, but the best one for African people, and that's also by an African.
Okay.
His name is Frantz Fanon.
Frantz Fanon.
Yes, and that's F-R-A-N-Z, Frantz Fanon, F-A-N-O-N. Okay. And it's called The Wretched of the Earth. Yeah.
Okay. At this point, I get to wrap it up on today's episode of Public Announcements. My name is still Gift David, and with Seun Kuti in the studio, we say bye for now.
Bye, everybody.